Hey everybody, Manny Telebear here. We're now on day 23 of the seven-figure climb. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk for a few minutes about morning routine because it's the rave right now. It's one of the buzzwords that people talk about all the time. And I think that unfortunately, a lot of people are misguided in the way they're actually approaching this business. They're misguided in the way they're approaching how to build something. And what a lot of people do is they go and they look for someone that's doing a certain amount of certain things or certain things in a certain way, and think that's going to really be the key, but it's really not. Um, I can tell you when a lot of my talk that I go over in these videos is about modeling people who have scaled something or looking for people who have actually done their own climb. But I can tell you, I wouldn't pay any attention to their morning routine. I would more pay attention to their mindset, the hours they actually work, how they problem solve, how quickly um, they get over problems. Because the bottom line is this: we are problem solvers by trade. That's what we do. We solve problems for other people, and they give us a lot of money for doing that. And in order to do that, the first thing you have to do is you have to solve your own problems. And so we get out of our own way, we solve our own problems, and then we can help other people solve theirs. And that's how we get to the money. But everyone has this idea that if they do certain things or rituals or whatever, that they're going to be successful. And so I'm going to walk you through my morning routine or lack thereof. And I can tell you, you can probably find a lot of really good content on YouTube about this. But my advice to you is don't be misguided and think that you have to get up at 4 a.m. and do 150 push-ups and then take a shower and do all of that stuff and be very, very rigid and do all those things to build a business. Because I'll be honest with you, 90% of that morning routine stuff has nothing to do with building a business anyway, and I don't think that's going to get you there. The other thing that I will tell you right up front, it does not matter what hours you work. What matters is that you work the hours. And so I'm a former pool room owner turned marketer. My hours were noon to 3 a.m. for many, many, many years. My hours are currently noon to 3 a.m. Now, for whatever reason, I've been trending early, and so I've been getting up at 9:30 or 10 a lot of days, and starting a little bit early. And when I start early, sometimes I still make it to 3 a.m. Sometimes I don't, but my normal waking hours have always been noon to 3 a.m. And I can tell you, I've created over 80 courses. I have done over 3,000 strategy sessions, worked with over 300 people. And so if you're looking at getting a lot done, you don't have to get up at 4 in the morning and take cold showers and eat grapefruit and do 200 push-ups or sit-ups or whatever. You don't really need all of that. What my advice to you would be is to create the routine that works best for you. Now, I can tell you by omission, I'm going to tell you some things that I don't do. So things that I do not do, I don't go to email. I don't go and manage my Facebook groups. When I get up, I don't do any of that. What I do when I get up is I get cleaned up, I get dressed, I get in the chair, and I look at the biggest problem facing me. And I can tell you, the biggest problems facing you are going to change from time to time to time. First, you're going to find the problem you're going to solve. That's going to be the thing that you're going to sell for a lot of money. Then you've got to create that thing. You got to build it. And once you built it, you've got to figure out a system for optimizing and getting that offer in front of people. And a lot of what you're going to be doing, the further down the road you get, the more you're going to be looking for money to scale and looking for people to help you scale. And that's going to be your thing. And so my advice to you is, like I said, don't focus so much on these mundane things like exercise and push-ups and cold showers, but focus on what you focus on when you go to work. And what you need to do is you need to find your biggest pressing problem and you need to focus on that. And I can tell you, when I'm in launch mode and I'm selling stuff, I will check email to make sure there are no refund issues. I will check email to make sure no one has reached out with a question. I will answer some DMs sometimes in the morning when I first get up, but I can tell you those DMs are only going to be people who are related to the business, already buyers or something like that, or someone I'm working with. I am not going to answer blind emails and cold emails. I'm not going to met or DMs at all. I mean, as a matter of fact, I can tell you, like I said, it's not so important the hours you work. It's the importance is working the hours and doing the right things with them. And I can tell you, I get 10 to 15 cold DMs a day, and 95% of those are deleted without replying to them. As a matter of fact, I delete the person and block them so they don't come back. And, there is time set aside for creating content for the Facebook groups and managing the Facebook groups. But generally, when I'm managing the Facebook group, it's going to be when I'm doing something else at the same time. So I'm making these videos today. I'm going to try and make 15 or 20 of them. And at some point, if I make a 30-minute video, it's going to take a while for that video to get processed and all of that. And so while the computer's doing something, I will leave this workstation. I've got one right beside me that looks identical to this. And while this computer's processing, I'm going to be over there, and I'm probably going to be doing that busy work that I don't want to be doing. We're doing two things at once. And so that's what I want you to think. So I can tell you, it's not really important what you do as far as morning routine. Like I said, I get up when I get up. Lately, I've been getting up earlier. I generally get dressed. I generally don't eat breakfast. I'm not a breakfast person at all. And then what I do is I look for the biggest problem, and I start solving that. And so what you really want to think about is that. Now, if you're doing this right, and a lot of you all might want to work to-do lists, and I'm going to give you some insights on to-do lists. And I can tell you, one of the processes that a lot of people do, and I think it's very, very valuable, is that they work their hours, and at the end of the day, they make a list of things they're going to need to do tomorrow. And I agree with that. And I think that's very important. It's a to-do list or things you're going to focus on. And then you get up the next day and the list is ready for you and you can start working on that. The problem, though, most people will put 30 things on a to-do list, and they will pick and choose the easiest things on that list. And so I make a list of 30 things tonight. Tomorrow morning, I get up and I work 22 of those off the list, and I've got 8 left. Generally, that 8 that are left are the ones that are most important that I'm scared to do. And then what I do is I add a bunch of things to that list again, and I've got 30 things to do again. And that 8 things that were on the list before is still on the list for tomorrow and still on the list next day. And what it is people don't want to prospect. People don't want to talk to strangers. And so, if one of the things on your list is to be selling stuff, you better be talking to people, and you better not move that. Like, that's probably the most important thing. And so one of the things that you're going to have to get really good at is identifying what's urgent and what's important. And there are a lot of things that are urgent that aren't important at all. And you need to be doing the important things. And another thing is you're going to time block. You're going to work things to a completion. You're not going to leave open loops. You're not going to leave projects undone. And one of the things you really need to be able to do is look at a to-do list and estimate how long each thing takes. And you're going to get better and better at that over time. But like I said, you're going to have to, focus on the most important things. And my advice to you is don't try to do 30 things in a day. Try to do the 4 to 5 to 7 most important things. And then the other thing is work things to a completion. So if you got a major problem, like the biggest problems we have is learning how to do something. And so if you got a major problem, like you need to learn how to set up GetResponse or Kajabi or something like that, I would spend all of my time on that until that problem is completely solved. And so you don't want to work on it for a few minutes. And what happens is usually people work on that problem for a certain amount of time and they get anxiety, they hit fear sets in, and then they move to their list and find a bunch of very easy things to do. But that's not really moving the football any. And so what I want you to think about is I think you should start with to-do lists. I think they should have 5 to 7 things. You can certainly put more on those if you are good at doing the most important thing. But the next day, you do need to basically work the list based on the importance of the activity and what is stopping you from getting the thing closer to being launched. So like I said, you gotta figure out what you're gonna sell. You gotta create the thing you're gonna sell. You got to build the offer for the thing you're gonna sell. If you're using Camtasia, if you're using ClickFunnels, you need to do all of that. And then you need to get everything that you do. Then once you've done all of that, once everything's built, then everything is basically focused on launching, and launching is essentially just getting the money to 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 drive traffic to an offer. And we're going to talk about that a lot more as we move forward. But I appreciate you all being here, and we will see you on the next video. And thanks a lot.